got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
I hail from Lagos State, from Isaleko. My father hailed from the Olumegbo family. I attended my primary, secondary education in Ibadan at the time because my mother was there. But my religious practicing was always done during the holidays at Holy Cross Cathedral. I was working in the sacristy. We used to prepare for the Mass on Saturdays, and we sell the news magazine on Sundays in front of the church. And I remembered fondly that we used to tease a man called Sunday Boku Boku at that time, and he used to run to chase us and throw stones at, how dare you call me Sunday Boku Boku. Those were fun times. Harvest, Corpus Christi. And I was born, raised, baptized, confirmed, married in the Catholic Church. But I got married to Engineer Larry Phillips, who is an Anglican. And I believe that in togetherness of family, it's best we all do things together. So I moved over with him against the doctrine of Catholic Church to the Anglican Church at Marina, where his family belongs and worships. I attended St. Luke's Demonstration School. We used to climb the mango trees, and there was a mixed school. We used to play at during break time. And in my secondary school was a Catholic school. And it's for you to be prim and prudish in life and, you know, set you on as a lady. And I got some finesse from there too. And but the most interesting one and the most that I can call a radical one was my HSC in Olivet. I mean, we tried all sorts there, but it was fun and highly educative too. Sportsmanship was there, and from there I proceeded abroad for my accountancy. And I was lucky to finish in a record time, and I came back. Did my articleship, but married in between. I met my husband abroad, and we came back home, got married in Nigeria. I worked as an accountant with USC, very proud of the drill professionally that I got from USC. It had set me on a discipline for working. And I thank God that I had that opportunity, which still helps me today. Apart from the fact that my educational background sets me to be a diversified person in so many professions. And you know, as an accountant, accountancy is the best of all, is the creme de la creme. And I've been able to fulfill my professional exposure in every species of responsibilities that I had opportunity to take upon me. And from USC, I proceeded to work for the bank. I went to politics. I became a commissioner in Lagos State, served with the present president of Nigeria. And you know how Lagos is. Lagos is like a country to other states. We went through governance. My team, as you can see, I have some of my colleagues in Abuja now. I have Honorable Minister Wali Edu. I have Honorable Minister Dele Alake. I have Honorable Mr. Yemi Cardozo, and so forth. And I served in the bank as a director in Keystone. I've been a chairman of so many committees. You can say that again. In different aspects of life, professional, political, social, and currently I'm now the chairman of SOUQ Insurance PLC. When I was growing up, it was so free and enjoyable. We can take off at 11, 12, escort your friends to Bangboshe here. We go and have the Mosa. We go to the stadium. I remember me in my teenage age, I used to go to Nikon Stadium here. We watch so many matches, and I used to be with those fans, you know, dancing and waving our fans, you know, and bazaars, Easter Mondays, Fela Sports, I mean, you name it. It was fun. But Lagos was good for all of us. It was cleaner. It was amazing. Security isn't much to fear, you know. You can just live the way you want. And money and values of life are completely different to what they are today. I was with my grandparents and we had so many tenants and we didn't realize they were tenants. We were all playing together, eating together, and we are still like one family today. But the story is not the same again. I wish one can turn around and change it, but we have all given our kids sheltered life for the fear of unknown. And I think the disadvantage is very grievous. I think first and foremost, God gave me the chance, the opportunities to pass through that in the journey of life. It's not only money that can make you successful in life. I want you to get that. It's an added support for you if in life you have the opportunities of parents who can financially support you. But at the same time, there are kids who didn't have any financial support and have been successful. So to me, success is about self-determination. I grew up around uncles and aunties who are thoroughly educated, and I've always had it behind my ambition that I must be in that cadre. And thank God the opportunity was there for me and I seized it. And I remember myself telling my kids, when I was abroad, I never lived like my father was a rich man. No. I was behind the desk reading and reading till I got successful. And I passed in record time. First and foremost, I think I'm a people's person. Secondly, my educational background. Thirdly, my pedigree. And you can't be a Lagos person and don't have a bit of intelligence about how you can maneuver yourself, even in the midst of challenges. And I can tell you that boardroom politics, especially when you're a woman, is tough. But when you manage those that you sit around with, eventually, when they see that you're there to work, it has no business and basis for any other thing. I've had issues on boards because I'm female, and I put my foot down. It is the work we are doing. There is no gender sensitivity in this issue. Even in my early days as an accountant, when I had the accounting department, it was even tough at that level because the young accounting class, some of them can be daring to say, how can you talk to me like that? How can you make it? And I'll say, please, what do you mean? We need to get this target work done. So it's the work that is talking. That's not to do with whether I'm a man or a woman. So I will like the idea of gender reasonableness to be better played. At least for now, we are not having it at 3 1/3, no. But I guess we are in the region of 20%. And it should be better. You give a woman a chance, she will devote her life to it. But, I mean, when we have 1 or 2 issues from women who have been there, that should not create hurdle or boundary that you say a woman shouldn't cross. No. Nobody's perfect in life. And I want to let you know, it's tough for a woman. These men, when it is a woman having a corrective measure to be taken, they do not handle it the way they do for the men. They're in a rush to pack the woman out. You see from what has happened all over the world. So I will still make an appeal that women should be given better chances, better allowances. It's so quick to make a woman a scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb. Let's take it easy. And please, women, when they put you there, make us proud. I should remember the other women coming after me. If I make this trouble now, they turn around and say, this is why we don't give them the chance to get to the top. So you manage the situation, you know? And let us remember that Africa is still very chauvinistic. It's still a man's world here. We are only trying. So just give us, for now, our required 33.1% as per Beijing recommendation. Having been in politics, there are so many factors that bring you up there. Some sensible, which I would call sensibilities. Some sensitive based, which I would call sensitivity. And some as per geographical distribution. If it's not the turn of your section, your district, there's no way they can put you there. But then sometimes it's the turn of your district, the party supremacy decrees that they don't want to use you. What do? You have to show some resilience as a stable character and do whatever you are given very well. Excel. Somehow, one day, you'll be there. Like Martin Luther King. At the end of that tunnel, I can see the light. Someday, somehow, you'll get there. I was in tourism shortly, and it's not enough time to propagate the excellence of your work. But in special duties, I give the ministry class. I was able to represent my Lagos State very well. NYC was under me. Proudly, I served. And we ensure that all students that need to go to orientation camp are well registered and got their NYC certificates. It's not about where they put you. It's about what you are able to do in that place. And you do it even to the enviable eye of somebody who believes has the best ministry with a lot of funding and allocation. I'm different in that respect. A hard-working man, a man with a lot of sagacity, a man that is very kind, he has human kindness in his heart, a man that is highly focused. My office was very close to the Roundhouse, and I tell you, I wasn't surprised. And I kept telling everybody, I wasn't surprised he got a clinch that position, because I knew that even when in 99, from the day we stepped in, he's been working towards his election in 2003. So a man like that who is focused, his business is the end of the tunnel. all the distractions you are given, it's not, it doesn't consider it. So don't waste your emotions. When you provoke yourself unnecessarily, and the person you are provoking yourself upon is not even responding on that line, you're wasting your time. But he's an astute politician. He knows what to do at every point. And don't try him, because he's a hard knock. And he's easy to forgive. That bit, I don't know how he does it, but it's easy to forgive and move on. He understands politics, maybe from a young age, I don't know, but he seems to have the knack of it at all times. I think that's in the pipeline. I don't have to come here to say that. And even in the insurance company industry that I am now, I'm propagating that, look, you need to take it easy. Is it at these hard times you want to recapitalize the industry and make life harder? Yes, recapitalize, but not with large gap. The variance should not be too much, because you need to recapitalize so that companies will be solidly based to address financial issues and risk issues that we have in the country today. I studied religion for my A-levels in school. I did divinity. It's not just reading Bible. The interpretation, the history, the analogy, all of that I did. And it has helped to shape me for life. It has molded my conscience to a large extent. What I see in religion today, if I go back to the way I have studied religion, I will say I'm worried. The way we have churches established in this country now, I'm talking of my experience in Lagos State. On the street, you can find 6, 8 churches, but there is no school. Education is key. Religion molds the character, the moral values about life. I'm not saying they're all totally condemned, but I think there should be more conferences and seminars to appeal to their conscience. It's one God. And in Lagos, the families, both Christian and Muslims, and the third religion, which is the native religion, we all interact and live together. And usually you find out that all of them talking about this God. I am a Christian. I talk about my God. And I don't denounce anyone in any other religion that faithfully talk about their God. And I don't allow that to affect a lot of decisions that I have to make, and didn't affect a lot of decisions that I had made. The expectation is too high. We are still a developing country. The awareness of covering up your risk is not too much there. In terms of life insurance, in terms of property, people are not still there. People don't cover themselves well enough. They take unnecessary risk. I'm glad Lagos State Governor is saying everybody must have a health insurance now. That, again, will expand the scope of the insurance business. In insurance, there are so many seminars, there are so many conferences that are being put up there now, where the ability to educate the masses, and even the high-ups want to please insure yourself. And when I say yourself, your life, your property, your children, and see how far it goes. It is important. And you know, in this era of insecurity, it is highly important. Just make sure you ensure yourself. And with what the governor had proposed now, definitely Governor Sanwo-Olu did well. Health insurance is key. Health is wealth. First and foremost, inflation all over the world has gone haywire. So it's not peculiar to Nigeria alone. Those who live in the Western world, they're crying hula baloo about the price of petrol, the price of even eggs. So it's not just Nigeria. Let us wake up and see that we're in a global world and everything is intertwined. The issue of the central bank now trying to manage inflation, these are not easy times all over the world. They're not easy times. And when I say we are a developing country, we are still trying very hard. I don't want to say it's sad. It depends on the environment. You know, you can't just bring UAE here into Nigeria. The environment here from inception has not delved too much on tourism. Your tourism is just go on holiday and go back. The beaches are there. And even from day to day, they are trying to redevelop along the beach so that tourist activities can happen. And I'm sure they're still on it. You need tourist attraction where you have every aspect of life when tourists come over. But with the problem of infrastructure that we have in the country, you can't do much tourism for now. It wasn't easy, but as I said, once you try to be a bit methodological about it, then you get by. Because from the days I came back from England, starting a family, working in large corporations, it just ensure that the home front solidly settled. And it wasn't that easy, because you know that I'm talking of almost 40 years back. To be able to excel amidst men, you probably have to do 2 times, 3 times more than them. I'm lucky I have a husband who accepts me being what I am. Because if you have a partner that does not appreciate your ambition and your dream, he will not support you. But I have the support of my husband, and we are able to keep the home together. Make sure that his food is given. Make sure the kids are well looked after. Make sure the husband is well looked after at all times, and don't grudge. I try to give myself to people in terms of needs. I try to recognize people's needs, and at the moment of that need, I try to help. And it's a legacy I try to sound to my kids at all times, recognize needs at that point and do it. Because at the point that you recognize it, if you don't offer the assistance, it may not be meaningful again. But if at the time that a need arises and you can do it, promptly do it. And I cannot manage people who are not sincere. I cannot. And that is the only thing that bothers me about life. And once I find out that they are not one way, I make my U-turn and I don't go back again. And that's one thing I have learned, I have seen, and I'm trying to learn from Mr. President Bola Tinubu. The way he can switch from being so hot and then swim as if nothing happened and carry on. That is tough for me. And I hope I'll be able to, within the space remaining, I'll be able to copy that. At the same time, I like hardworking. I recognize people who are hardworking, who are intelligent, and I recognize people who are hardworking and need to be helped in terms of training to be a better person. And I like fun. Now, let me start with that girl child. That girl child is not so common again. At least most female children are educated now. Outside Lagos, girl child is a big reference. Yeah, I think everybody should be given equal chance to make a life, and a life worth living and contented with. Because if you don't have enough drive and motivation, then life becomes static and you just wear it out and go. But I believe that for women, don't let the men scare you off. You are equally hardworking and intelligent. Expose yourself, but don't mess yourself around. Don't get corrupt. Do unto others as you want others to do unto you. And there's one good prayer. Everybody that knows me, and I always say, my God is a just God. His judgment is always fair. So whoever hurts you, attacks you, leave them to God. He's a fair God. The judgment of God will come. Just move on and pray that in your lifetime, that judgment comes up. My favorite food, I like eba and ewedu. I'm an expert in cooking. I love cooking, and I tell you, I can challenge anybody to come and compete with me. On that level, I score a good card. But I love fresh fish, with ewedu and eba. I'm not too much of an amala fan, and my favorite color is green. Or it's green, but with that green, I love bright colors. Even jewelry, it has to be bright for me, but still worn in a conservative way. As loud as whatever I pick may be, I still give it a conservative umbrella. I love to dance. I'm a good dancer. I love to socialize. I'm a good mixer, but highly disciplined.
Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of the nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to its citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligations to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax, that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. SOUQ Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helm of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. SOUQ Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you look at the fiscal landscape of Nigeria in the past 10 years, you find that businesses have struggled to live, and that has led to the exit of so many businesses from Nigeria. But with this new reform, we're saying that the businesses will profit from the reform processes, and that will mean more business for Nigeria. We will have a lot of foreign inflow in terms of foreign direct investment that will actually drive the process of economic growth for the country. And I think he has done so well, and he deserves a kudos, especially for taking the giant stride to restructure FIRS for efficiency, for accountability, and for value for money.
He has also made the welfare of the staff a top priority, fostering a positive working environment that has brought smiles to the faces of FIRS employees nationwide. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses can thrive.
He has initiated a lot of reform which dovetail into the tax reform bills that is before the National Assembly. This initiative is to improve on the tax administration system in Nigeria with a view to improving on the collection systems that will be beneficial to every member of the Nigerian state. SOUQ, as is well known, has improved on simplifying tax reform even within the federal landowner revenue, which in no means has improved on tax administration, and he celebrated essentially for the core initiative of the tax reform.
Under Dr. Adedeji's leadership, Nigeria's tax system has gone beyond mere policy adjustments. Its focus is on fostering sustainable growth and ensuring that the benefits of tax reforms reach both businesses and citizens.
So those that are attacking the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them when they bad allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT. And then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have. The issue of trust. Trust, what do some experts call trust deficit. Yes, will be promoted greatly by this if corrective measures are not taken. Graduation has not been defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it. Since now the graduation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, oh, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% graduation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law.
Contributing to long-term national development, Dr. SOUQ A. Adedeji's career is a testament of his unwavering commitment to improving Nigeria's financial systems and enhancing revenue generation, showcasing his exceptional expertise in corporate and public finance.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event, and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? store is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
Hello and welcome to SOUQ Business Television. We are reaching you live from the commercial city of Lagos. I am Oyinpri Krumale. The Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate has disbursed 8.6 billion naira as part of the 32,900 pension increment approved by President Bola Tinubu earlier this year. The payment benefit 148,625 retirees under the defined benefit scheme. These include pensioners from the civil service, the police force, parastatals, customs, immigration, and prisons department. The 5.7 billion naira was paid to 59,342 parastatal pensioners. 2.3 billion naira went to 71,084 civil service retirees. 310 million naira was disbursed to 9,579 police retirees, and 276 million naira reached 8,620 customs, immigration, and prisons pensioners. The Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate Executive Secretary Tolulope Odunaya says the payment reflects the government's strong commitment to settle outstanding pension balances and improve the welfare of retirees. Now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $55 million into the foreign exchange market to reduce pressure on the naira and support importers' demand. The intervention comes amid persistent foreign exchange shortages that continue to strain Nigeria's trade-dependent economy and increase the cost of imported goods. Despite the fresh dollar supply, the naira further weakened as demand for foreign currencies stayed high. Meanwhile, yields on government bonds and treasury bills climbed to 18.59% and 19% respectively, as investors remain cautious ahead of an 800 billion naira treasury bill auction, according to reports. The Nigerian Exchange Limited opened the new week in decline as market capitalization dropped by 171 billion naira following fresh Central Bank of Nigeria's directives. The directive suspended dividend payments, director of bonuses, and foreign investment by banks under regulatory forbearance, leading to heavy sell-offs in banking stocks and weakening key market indicators. On Monday's close, all shareholders index dipped by 170.77 points to 115,258.77, down from Friday's 115,429.54. Despite short-term losses, analysts noted that discerning investors may see current low prices as entry opportunities, while the long-term market outlook remains cautiously optimistic as banks work towards meeting the central bank's new compliance standards, according to reports. Now, the Lagos State government has suspended issuing planning approvals along the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road to review the impact of the highway on the state's development plans. Commissioner for Physical Planning and Urban Development, Dr. Oluyinka Olumide, announced the decision, citing significant effects on the Ode-Omi Action Area Plan, Ibeju-Lekki Model City Plan, and Lekki Comprehensive Master Plan. The suspension enforced by the Lagos State Physical Planning Permit Authority also aims to realign ongoing and future development plans with the state's master plan to maintain a sustainable, organized, and inclusive urban environment. The government assured the Lagos remains positioned to benefit from the interstate coastal highway once all plans are properly harmonized. Now, the United States diplomatic mission in Nigeria has pledged to attract more American investments into the Lagos Free Zone area, Nigeria's first private special economic zone. During a visit, Ambassador Richard Mills Jr. praised the zone's infrastructure and highlighted its existing American investors such as Kellogg's and Colgate. He emphasized that the upcoming 2025 U.S.-Africa Business Summit in Angola will provide opportunities to engage more investors. Chief Executive Officer of Lagos Free Zone, Mrs. Adesua Ladoja, described the zone as a top investment destination offering integrated facilities like Lekki Port, warehouses, factories, broadband networks, and a security command center. She stressed that the zone's growing ecosystem has boosted Nigeria's economic activity, created thousands of jobs, and leveraged trade agreements such as the African Continental Free Trade Area to expand exports. Many thanks for watching. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at SOUQ News Television. Coming up shortly is Just Africa. Do join us again.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Human achievements, goal setting, hard work, and dedication have been proven to be some of the elements towards success. The journey of remarkable individuals with lasting impact on the world are often filled with manifold stories, but through determination, they build their lives and make extraordinary contributions. Join me on the story of a trailblazer in business and philanthropy, Aiboje Ag Mokwede, a lawyer-turned-banker who has done well for himself, made an indelible mark within the banking sector, and has continued in his ambition of touching lives within Nigeria and across Africa. Aiboje Ag Mokwede. Within the Nigerian business space and philanthropy, few names resonate and are respected profoundly. Such is Aiboje Ag Mokwede. If you're just watching, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more great documentaries. Like, share, and comment. Known as a successful business mogul, banker, investor, and a philanthropist who cares about making difference, Ag Mokwede's story is one of hard work, creativity, and a desire to drive positive change across Africa. Born to civil service parents on September 24, 1966 in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria, he hails from Sabongida Ora, Edo State. Iboje spent his formative years with his parents in Lagos, where he had his primary education at St. Saviour's School. He enrolled into Federal Government College, Kaduna, and at age 16, he was admitted to study law at the University of Benin, where he graduated at a young age of 19 with a law degree, displaying early signs of his exceptional intellect and drive. Called to the Nigerian bar in 1987, he started his career in 1988 as a lawyer at Continental Merchant Bank during his National Youth Service Corps NYSC year. In 1991, he joined Guarantee Trust Bank PLC GT Bank, where he rose to prominence as an executive director. His big moment came in 2002 when he led the acquisition of Access Bank, turning it from a small regional bank into a big player, a banking powerhouse in the industry. Throughout his career, Ike Mokwede has taken on different leadership roles, including Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Access Bank until December 2013. He later became President of the Nigerian Stock Exchange and retired in 2017, but remains on the National Council. Bowing out of Access Bank, he was given a befitting send-off.
No man or combination of men could transform what we met in Access Bank in 2002 into what would cause this type of people to come and celebrate today's office.
His foresight and managerial acumen have brought him chairmanship and directorial roles in prominent organizations such as African Finance Corporation, Associated Discount House Limited, Petrolon Energy, among others, thereby contributing greatly to their growth and sustainability. Hard work, they say, pays. Igboje Ige Mokwede's hard work earned him many awards and honors. He received the National Productivity Order of Merit Award in 2009, conferred with Commander of the Order of the Niger CON in 2011 by the then President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, during his administration for contributing to banking and finance. As a visionary leader, he was installed into the E&Y World Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame in 2011 as the EY West Africa Entrepreneur of the Year and named African Banker of the Year in 2013. These amounting to how much others values his leadership and ideas. He got honored by Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria. Beside his work, Ige Mokwede also gives back to society. This philanthropist is involved in efforts to improve governance and healthcare across Africa through his Ige Mokwede Foundation, making a positive impact on people's life. He initiated the Adopt a Healthcare Facility program in 2019, and he is the chairman of ABC Health and director of the Private Sector Health Alliance of Nigeria. He is the founder of Chairman of Coronation Capital Limited since 2015 and has contributed to the growth of the Coronation ecosystem. Coronation Capital Limited, with other arms of its businesses, also bettered Coronation Art Gallery in Lagos on the 13th of May 2022, a platform for showcasing exceptional works of art that embodied the essence of cultural significance and artistic expression. Igboje Ike Mokwede founded Coronation Art Gallery with the vision of democratizing art, foster appreciation and understanding for the artistic world, and making it accessible to a wider audience.
Bumi Augusto is, I knew Bumi when she was born. I know her parents, and I know all her siblings. She's a beautiful, wonderful, gifted Nigerian artist. And just like many of the others here, the piece behind me is a triptych, long throats, all up to longer throats. I actually thought that I was going to caption this collection. You know, this is really a microcosm of my entire collection, but I was going to capture it longer throats because this represents a lot of this collecting I did during COVID. Many of these pieces actually were not in Nigeria. I brought them home. I'll tell you something. I'm known for collecting masters, you know, the Enwonwus and the Yusuf Grillos and so on. I still do, okay? And I kind of stuck to that genre of classic. Those are the people who, when I was growing up, as I told you, those are the people who were my parents, either just older than them or contemporaries. So I grew up knowing these artists as my uncles, okay? So my first collecting was, you know, from works, you know, done by masters like that. After a while, you know, these works are really priced in. But Bumi Augusto, you know, her works, you know, which may appear even a bit pricey now, in 10 years' time, you know. So this is also hosted by Coronation, which are companies that are all about wealth creation. So there's also the investment angle. I don't collect for investments, but, you know, with all that these great Nigerian and African artists, the young ones, have been doing, and the way their prices have been rising, you know, I've got to focus on investments now.
He collaborated with the Nigerian Civil Service to digitalize work processes and public service delivery in October 2021. Recognizing 43 public servants at the 2022 Civil Service Award ceremony on behalf of the Ige Mokwede Foundation with an encouragement of cash prize worth 500,000 naira for each awardees.
It is my understanding that annually 43 public servants will be recognized in this fashion, and so with effect from the 2022 Civil Service Awards ceremony, on behalf of the Ige Mokwede Foundation, we will be putting an endowment with effect from this award session, whereby each awardee receives a cash prize of 500,000 naira. And in the interest of digital culture, the credits will go directly to your accounts.
Among his many certifications, affiliations, and fellowships, Ige Mokwede holds Triumph MBA from the London School of Economics, New York University, and HEC Paris. He attended an executive management program at Harvard Business School in the year 2000, and he is a member of the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, also appointed to the International Advisory Board of Oxford University's Blavatnik School of Government. Ige Mokwede is a honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria and had received an honorary doctorate of science from Olabisi Onabanjo University in 2018. Also honored by Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria last year in a groundbreaking ceremony.
If the operators of our markets, of a nation's capital markets, are properly resourced in terms of skill capacity, and conduct, nothing can stop that nation and its citizens from leaving the tarmac and moving from third world to first world. Nothing can stop it. The correlation between the advancement of financial markets and the advancement of national economies is perfect. It's not almost, it is perfect. And so, you understand why I have tied myself to the future of this market and why I have tried from the very word go that my voice was heard to get the public sector and the elite within the private sector to understand that we cannot ignore this market.
Aiboje is the fourth African co-chairman of the Global Business Coalition on Health and chairman of the Friends of the Global Fund, Africa. The business mogul has made significant donations to the Global Fund. He is the vice chairman of the Global Citizen Nigeria and creator of the Nigerian Solidarity Support Fund. There is always a story, or say many stories, behind every success, and this Ig Imokwede has shared in a book called Leaving the Tarmac, Buying a Bank in Africa, Red Door 2020. In it, he talked about how he and others turned Access Bank into a major success, showing his determination and vision.
On a personal note, I think the first thing is that I left Access Bank. I retired as CEO in 2013. And I knew that I needed time off just to recharge my battery, so to speak. I didn't think I would have more than a year and a half before my perpetual motion character, kind of took over once again. And so I wanted to use that period as productively as possible. So I had a year and a half, and what better to do in a year and a half, than write a book. And for me, it was an opportunity, for posterity to tell the story to my children in a structured sense, because before then, I just hadn't had the opportunity to sit down with my kids and say, this is what I did today, or this is what I did yesterday, and these are the highs and the lows of this journey. Herbert and I went through a hell of an experience between 2002 and 2013, and for him, that experience has continued. We learned so much, we were exposed to so many things. We had really, really great mountains that we climbed. We scaled some pretty high heights and so on. And in a sense, it would be very selfish of us to, lock this up in a box and not share it with others, because I think our experience, can be used by any other person who has an ambition to go out there and do, whatever it is they seek, whatever it is they dream about. And so the notion of writing for posterity and recording this period in my life, and probably more important, the notion of preparing a way for others, those are the things that drove me to write the book.
Ig Imokwede, former managing director of Access Bank Group, returns to lead Access Holdings, replacing Abubakar Jimo. His return after a decade aims to realize the shared vision of the late co-founder, Herbert Wigwe. Access Holdings PLC, trading under the Access Corp ticker on the Nigerian exchange, began to feel Aiboje's progressive impact as its stock value increased by 1.52% following his appointment as chairman. Aiboje Ig Imokwede is back again. Ig Imokwede is married to Ofovwe Ig Imokwede and has 4 children, namely Ohiozoje, Aima, Morenike, and Renown. He has been able to balance his family life with his professional achievements, setting an example as a leader and role model to many. He is an ordained minister of the Promised Land Ministry. In the annals of Nigerian business history, his story stands out, showcasing the power of vision, perseverance, and giving back to the community. From his humble beginnings to global recognition, he inspires others to dream big and make a difference. His legacy remains as he continues to make strides in business and philanthropy. Welcome to Cashcraft, the show that turns your skills and ideas into serious income. Whether you're just getting started or you're already in the business, we'll bring you practical tips, fresh opportunities, and real stories to help you grow, literally and financially. I am Grace Komolafe, and today we are digging into horticulture, a vibrant green world where beauty meets business. Ask me why horticulture, and I will give you a mind-blowing answer. So here is it. Horticulture isn't just about flowers. It's food, income, wellness, and sustainability rolled into one. From fresh fruits to ornamental plants, it boosts nutrition, urban design, environmental health, and jobs. With climate concerns rising and food needs increasing, horticulture is fast becoming the new oil. But where is the cash? Let's break it down. 7 green paths to profit, and I take it from 1. Plant nursery. Raise and sell seedlings, ornamental trees, herbs, shrubs, from balcony plants to estate palms. People pay to green their spaces. And 2, landscaping. Design and maintain outdoor spaces for homes, estates, offices. Think aesthetics plus recurring contracts. And 3, garden maintenance. Offer pruning, pest control, soil treatment, and seasonal cleanups. A steady side hustle for trained hands. And we move to 4, horticultural farming. Now, grow fruits, veggies, flowers, or herbs. Go organic, go premium. Target hotels, health stores, and home markets. And we move to 5, consulting. Breed new plants, varieties, advise firms, or supply rare seeds. If you're skilled, your knowledge becomes a product. And we move to 6, product marketing. Sell fertilizers, potting soils, seeds, tools, and even ready-to-use grow kits. Offline or online, green goods move. Tip number 7, training or education. You can host workshops, classes, or start a YouTube channel. Gardeners, enthusiasts, and students are hungry to learn. Now, whichever paths you choose, start with research. Visit local horticultural centers. Understand what grows in your region. Learn from experts. Your first harvest may not bring millions, but with time, this business roots deep. Remember, success in horticulture isn't only about soil, it's about strategy. So here is your takeaways. In a world choking on stress, pollution, and processed food, green is gold. Horticulture is low entry, high potential, and if done right, it fits both the body and the bank account. So, what number are you reaching for on our list of 7? All right, that's it for today on Cashcraft. Until next time, I am Grace Komolafe, helping you plant ideas that pay right here on Cashcraft.
Cocoa remains a significant cash crop in Nigeria, predominantly produced by small-scale farmers in the country's southwest region. Historically, cocoa served as a major source of foreign earnings until the 1970s, when the discovery of petroleum shifted the focus away from agriculture. Despite various challenges from its introduction in 1807 to the present, efforts by successive governments and the resilience of cocoa farmers have sustained its production. To better optimize productivity and ensure fair prices for farmers and high economic returns for the government, the Cocoa Marketing Board, CMB, was established in 1947. However, the goal was not totally achieved as pricing policy weren't favorable, discouraging farmers from producing export crops, and that eventually led to the board's abolition in 1986. These resulted in reduced yields and lower quality cocoa beans. Meanwhile, the Millennium era witnessed a shift in farmers' focus towards more economically viable crops like oil palm due to the high cost and intensive care required for cocoa production. Cocoa production faces several obstacles, including limited access to fertilizers, unfavorable climate conditions, pest infestation, poor infrastructure, and land shortages. Also, herders' attacks on farmers have deterred farmers from expanding their farmlands.
According to research, despite challenges, cocoa production has empowered many farmers and more stakeholders in the value chain, improving their living standards, enabling them to provide education for their children, cover medical expenses, and build better homes. Concerning the future of cocoa farming in Nigeria, there are mixed opinions among farmers. Some are hopeful that government's reinvestment and addressing current challenges can revive the sector's past success. Others are pessimistic due to the persistent issues and the trend of farmers shifting to other crops. Regardless, hope remains for the sector. Solutions like improving land-labor relations, infrastructure, and financial support could revitalize cocoa production, reduce out migration, stabilize prices, and enhance value chain development, ultimately securing a brighter future for Nigerian cocoa farming and its stakeholders. Ojai Michael, reporting for SOUQ News.
We've got just what you need right here at Femi Wash Media. Call it the Midas Touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked the CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history, an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo early into the Adeniji Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. SOUQ Enlightenment.
Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Marse Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Our historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square, SOUQ Enlightenment.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Just Africa. We are reaching you live from our studios, SOUQ News Television. It's the program where we examine the pulse of the continent through the lens of governance, leadership, policy, and people. I am Oyinpriye Krumale. So just a moment. Olumide, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
June 12th, we just celebrated June 12th, and it's like the atmosphere is still filled with the speech that the president made.
Yes.
And we will be having a conversation with our guests, dissecting that speech. If it has, if there's this thing about nationalism, if the essence of June 12th that we're being celebrating today, if it's really in the speech.
Yeah, there's this quote I found, and I would like to read it. It said, "In democracy, silence is not golden, especially when it comes from the top. The words of the president must not speak only to power, but also to truth. And when they fail to do so, the people must respond with questions, scrutiny, and with insistence that accountability is not optional."
Great. And those are the questions we will be asking today. So in today's edition, we'll focus on a critical cornerstone of democratic culture, presidential transparency, and speech accountability, with special attention to Nigeria's June 12th Democracy Day and President Bola Tinubu's national broadcast across Africa. Presidential speeches are more than ceremonial addresses. They serve as the policy signals, social contracts, and reflections of national direction. For Nigeria, June 12th is not just a day on the calendar. It represents a battle won for democratic ideals. But the battle for transparency, trust, and tangible governance outcomes continues. In this episode, we will dissect President Tinubu's June 12th address to the nation, exploring what was said, what was not said, and what means for the people of Nigeria. From economic reforms to democratic resilience, we hold up the lens of speech accountability, asking, do presidential words align with public realities? That is the question we will be asking. Well, our guest is standing by and is joining us on the program. His name is Honorable Femi Adebisi. He's Justice of Peace, that's JP. He's the former Vice Chairman of Ibadan Southeast Local Government Area, MAPO, Public Policy and Public Affairs Analyst. Good morning to you. And Mr. Adebisi, welcome. Many thanks for joining us this morning on Just Africa. Please kindly unmute so we can hear you clearly from here. Kindly unmute. Okay, so let's continue the conversation. So if the quote, there's something I said about my intro. Does the president's speech align with current reality? For my conversation with some people, they were saying, okay, the president's speech was filled with politics rather than the role June 12th played in the political history in Nigeria. And how people, have come to identify with that specific day in our political history. Well, others, because when you are engaged on social media and of course physically, you meet some people who have a soft spot for the political party that is in power, and you have those who are critical or who are dissatisfied with current happenings in Nigerian political space, and they are telling you the president ought to do this, that, and the other, but the speech actually falls short of some of these realities and expectation, and they needed him to come to, cover up that space.
Yes. June 4th, a lot of people were looking forward to an encouraging speech. Let me borrow that renewed agenda. They were actually looking for that renewed agenda, that what the president would say would give them succor and bring hope that, okay, this nation is moving forward. And I think to some extent, he tried to do justice to that. For the June 12th announcement, I think he gave MK Abola and the wife, he gave them, honored them, he honored the Gani Fawemis and all that.
Yes.
In terms of development, he spoke about the fiber optics.
Yes.
He did a whole lot.
Yes.
But let's have our guest, Honorable Adefemi Adebisi. It's glad to have you. Please kindly unmute your set so that we can hear you clearly from here.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. So glad to have you on the show this morning. Okay. So let me throw out the first question. June 12th presidential speech. A lot of people were expecting a whole lot more than what the president delivered. People, just like Priya said, people tend to feel that the president was being more political than being a president or being presidential in addressing the people as to regards of what June 12th meant and will actually mean for us in the future.
You see, when government works, in most cases, it's quite, so many people. Because in Nigeria, we can't let us how we have been governed. You see, when you are talking about governance, it's all about, especially in a democracy, it's all about honest of the government and the government. So there must be a strong. But of course, at all kind of democracy in Nigeria, especially in the there is a whole lot of gap between the two, the government and the government. And the reason obvious, we are on the structure.
Honorable Adefemi, can you hear me?
No.
Okay. Honorable Adefemi, please stay on the line. We'll go on a break. When we return, our conversation with you regarding the president's June 12th speech will continue. Just stay online. I'll be back in a moment.
The Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of three men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is in no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodu Shudende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the three sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the Three Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. Three white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the posture of the engraved images signifies. The three wise men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodun Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the Eko greeting tradition. The three wise men, Arometa, SOUQ, Enlightenment. The National Theatre, Igomu, built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, FESTAC, in 1977. The theatre holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of a legendary contemporary Nigerian artist, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged FESTAC 77. The complex hosted 16,000 participants from 56 African countries and the diaspora in an unprecedented showcase of African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The National Art Theatre was built and designed by Techno Expert Stroll, a Bulgarian company mirroring the Palace of Culture and Sports in Varna, Bulgaria. Completed in 1976, the building is one of the largest and most beautiful of its kind on the African continent. It consists of a central hall with 5,000 seats, a collapsible stage that can be quickly rebuilt, a conference hall with 1,600 seats, 2 large exhibition halls, and 2 cinemas with 800 seats each. The theater complex has a dressing room for artists, a garage, offices, coffee bars, and a buffet. It has indoor TV and radio systems, as well as booths with facilities for simultaneous translation of languages and hectares of large green lawn around. The majestic structure sits in Igomu like a quiet mountain, mesmerizing visitors and passers-by. The National Theatre, SOUQ, Enlightenment.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us. Our conversation is centered around the June 12th conversation, or will I say national broadcast that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave when we celebrated that a few days ago. So we are looking at the speech that he made, what he mentioned, what he did not mention, and the connection with national realities as far as Nigeria is concerned. Our conversation this morning is with Honorable Adefemi Adebisi, JP. Is the former vice chairman of Ibadan Southeast Local Government Area, Makbo, and is also a public affairs analyst. Welcome once again. Many thanks for joining us on the conversation, Honorable Adefemi Adebisi.
Oh, my name is Olufemi Adebisi, but be that as it may, I want to say good morning to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, Honorable Olufemi Adebisi. So we continue the conversation from where we stopped earlier.
All right, so Honorable Femi Adebisi, like I said earlier on, the people were expecting a whole lot more from that speech, but some have said it was more of political, with political jabs thrown here and there. But he also expressed a bit of development and economic development in the country. But what would you say, in your own opinion, would you say that he did justice as to delivering a speech that Nigerians actually yearned for?
Going by the presidential speech on the June 12 occasion, I think we had a kind of, what do I call it now? I think a kind of confusion. Two programs are wrapped in one. You cannot, assume that June 12 will communicate the essence of democracy. Though it birthed, the republic we are talking about now. But then, when you are talking about democracy is so wide. Democracy, determines who we are, our status, how we govern ourselves, our future, our today. So it's a wider issue. We're talking about June 12. June 12 is just an event centered around democracy. So when you collapse the two into one, then there is bound to be confusion. And that's why you are getting that kind of confusion in the presidential speech, as he dwelled largely on the event of June 12 and, dwelling less on the problems and issues and challenges of our democratic, system, as it were, in Nigeria as of today. So you see that there were a whole lot of, events, like the jamboree of the awards and all those stuff, which becloud the good reason why we set aside a particular day. So actually, I think the people are expecting that over the last 26 years, the president will revisit the event around democracy. We want to know, has it been working? If it is working, then what kind of improvement? If it is not working, yes, what can we do to make it work? And of course, it is supposed to be a kind of engagement between the president and his own people in Nigeria. See, the injustice in that particular speech, let me tell you. If I felt so disappointed, actually, I think the agenda was that the president would talk to the larger populace, the Nigerians at large, home and abroad, first in the morning. But that was cancelled without apology. And the president chose to speak with, the legislators and selected people that were invited into that meeting. So, leaving the people. So, in fact, I think I expected that, a kind of presidential rapport with Nigerians on phone and television would be the order of the day and would have been the best, so that there will be a link between the governed and the government, so that all together we'll be able to talk together. In fact, we've been calling that we need national meeting to redefine our democracy in Nigeria, because that democracy happened to be built on a kind of faulty foundation, which we all agreed on. And essentially, before Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu became the president, he happened to be one of the advocates of, what we call restructuring. Restructuring of what? Restructuring of our democracy. He believed that Nigeria is not working and is not likely to work. It's not likely to work under the current democratic dispensation. He has been fighting for that. He had been an apostle of what we call restructuring, so that altogether we look at our democracy and see in wholesale how we can redefine it, rework it, or reconfigure it to make it work for everybody, so that we can use democracy to build sustainable economic growth and industrialization, so that we can channel democracy to make sure that, according to Section 1 of Nigerian Constitution, that that the power belongs to the people, the sovereignty belongs to the people, so that, according to Section 14 also of the Nigerian Constitution, so that democracy can guarantee security and welfare of the people and access.
Honorable Olufemi, please permit me to come in here. Honorable Olufemi, thank you so much for what you've just said. Now, let me take you there's something clear about you and your designation. You are a journalist, you are a public affairs analyst and a commentator. You are a journalist, and you also have, engaged yourself in the level of governance at the ebb of society, being a former vice chairman of Ibadan, southeast local government area. So I think some I can deduce that you are conversation or communication-wise, you are conversant. So I want to ask you, from the body language of the Mr. President, while giving that broadcast in a joint session of both the senators and members of the House of Representatives, what are the information that were called to that day for June 12th that you think the president deliberately, put out of the broadcast?
Well, I think the president ought to have highlighted the national question. He ought to have revisited the Nigeria's national objective. As a people, what are the objectives of the union or the federation called Nigeria? Have we been missing out on certain issues? And the answer is yes. There are various national questions. One of the questions is, there are so much gap between the rich and the poor in the country, especially given to the current economic reforms. It had been a situation in that regard where, the people that led us into economic crisis are not the ones that are paying for it. It is the common man on the street that is paying for it. It is the businesses that is supposed to engage families and the people of Nigeria that is suffering for it because the businesses and economy is slowed down already, and people are not seriously engaged. Families are not empowered, they are not enabled. So I thought the president at least will apologize and probably let the people know or roll out the timeline. Sorry, we're in this all together. But of course, the politicians, the political elites that led us into this crisis, they are not bearing the brunt of these particular, economic issues. They are not. We are feeding them, we are clothing them. They want yacht, we give them. They want to fly, we give them the facility. They want protection, we give them. Anything they want, we give them. But an average Nigeria has been left unprotected, and people are, probably, asking questions. They are asking the president, when is all this suffering, when will it end? We want answer to that. The people are expecting that. That is number one. Number two, security-wise, people are being killed every day. And over time, we have been unable to put an end to insecurity. You believe with me that it did not begin with this administration. It began, let me say, even from the time of Olusegun Obasanjo. But the way and manner he dealt with it, he was able to silence it. But it became so loud during the time of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, beginning with the abduction of the Chibok girls and all that. So, and since that time, it has graduated to the issue of cattle rustling, all those stuff and all those stuff. So now, you see, the Americans, they pronounced these people that are troubling Nigeria as the fourth most deadliest group. They pronounce them as terrorists. But officially in Nigeria, we are yet to pronounce them as terrorists. As such, we have been unable to, deal with it precisely the way we're supposed to deal with it. And in the press, in the statement of Mr. President just yesterday as touching Benue issues, he was almost instructing the governor Alia of Benue State, to go and organize a meeting between the two warring factions as if it is a kind of family matter. No, it is not. We are talking about some faceless people that, probably, invade our country from outside, collaborating with their internal, colleagues here. So it's a complex issue, which I hope the president on that particular Democracy Day will highlight. In fact, beginning with the historical perspective leading to insecurity in Nigeria, down to the contemporary events, and the contributions of some people in government or outside the government, to insecurity in Nigeria. And I thought Mr. President would have said, okay, I think there should be a national meeting so that we talk about insecurity for once in this country. People are expecting that from Mr. President. Well, we did not have things of such. It just mentioned passively and on a lighter mode. So now the issue of hunger, the issue of poverty in the land, the issue of inflation, the issue of slowed down economy, which is affecting homes and businesses. And it's not easy as businessmen. Then another thing that I thought Mr. President would talk about is the issue of energy. Without energy, you cannot achieve sustainable economic growth and industrialization. Yes, at a point, winding back to the Second Republic, they engaged on a laudable steel project in Nigeria. Yes, where is it, the Ajakuta steel project? And when you have energy, when you have steel, then it means that you can industrialize. Because if you don't have steel in your country, it means that you cannot produce vehicle and other industrial machines from the beginning to the scratch. The Second Republic achieved that to the tune of 95%, and now it is now back to ground zero almost. So what are we doing to make sure that Nigeria works? What can we do? So those are the few things we expect from Mr. President. Of course, when you are talking about the economic reforms that is slowing down the economics and probably, like diminishing the people's spending power. So when you are talking about that, then you need to talk about the opportunity cost. And part of the opportunity cost is that people are suffering. Inflation is, is getting higher and higher every day. So, our currency is heavily devalued. We are not competing at the international market. We are more or less a revenue-based economy and not a production-based economy. And we are borrowing to even finance our budgets. Oh, God, for God's sake. So what can we do to make sure that all those things are reversed? That is what we expected from Mr. President on the Democracy Day, rather than dwelling largely on the event.
Honorable Femi Adebisi, thank you very much for that. Two questions I'd like to ask quickly. The first one, during the speech, of course, President Tinubu awarded honors to certain people, especially MKO Abiola and his wife, Ken Sariwe, and the rest. So my question is, do you think that's a befitting reward for MKO Abiola, Kudirat Abiola, and all those who have sacrificed for democracy? Secondly, President Tinubu made mention of the establishment of fiber optics in Nigeria to enable and enhance the smooth transaction of businesses in the country. Do you think that is also a laudable achievement?
Well, yes. Let me begin with Chief MK Abiola. I followed that event, and I was a part of the activism in that particular regime. So the Third Republic, I was active, in politics then. So I think the better reward for Chief MK Abiola, especially if we were to be alive, would have been upholding the ideals of late Chief MK Abiola, which is all about industrialization, which is all about, welfareism for everybody. You recollect that, when the results were being announced, the result of that particular June 12 election, in fact, cost of commodities were already going down. And not only that, if you revisit the campaign of late Chief MK Abiola, most of those things centered on what you call welfareism. It talks about how Nigeria can be self-sustaining. He wrote especially oil, crude oil, and all those stuff. You see, there are a few things he was, he mentioned during his electioneering campaign. Yes, I thought the best reward for late Chief MK Abiola would have been, reactivating, those campaign promises and making them, come into life. So, that would have made Chief Abiola, a happy man wherever he is today. I think, and I want to believe that Chief Abiola will be weeping somewhere. If, tears, can be shed wherever he is right now, he'll be weeping, because this is not the kind of Nigeria he envisaged. This is not the kind of Nigeria, Chief Abiola was hoping for when he was campaigning. He was thinking of an egalitarian society where there'll be equality, where every voice is heard, where everyone will be someone. That's the kind of Nigeria he was talking about, where people can run freely and move freely without fear of favor. That is the kind of Nigeria he was thinking about. So, and that would have been the greatest reward. This man will, be happy at, not the GCFR that was conferred on him by the former president, not all these awards of people that, most of the people that betrayed even the June 12 movement that have been honored. Can you recollect that even Adeko that championed, that activism, the founder of it was missed out, and that's late Adekunle Ajasin. There are several key people, that are germane to that particular struggle. They were missing out. But of course, I want you to believe with me that, Chief Abiola would have loved that, one.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Olufemi. Thank you very much for your thought. Now, there's something else that I want us to look at very closely, and that is the disposition of both senators and members of the House of Representatives that were jointly seated when the president was making a nationwide broadcast, or probably maybe it was not a nationwide broadcast, it was an address to Parliament and to give posthumous awards and to some of those who have died and gone, and those who are still in the current dispensation. At some point in time in the chamber, we could hear them sing, "On your mandate we stand, on your mandate we stand, on your mandate we stand." And that is not the first time we've heard such songs coming from the honorable members and distinguished senators. So this, as you know, it throws up lots of concern for those who are politically informed in Africa, where we've not seen viable oppositions. Viable oppositions are dying by the day. And there's also an allegation against this current administration that there is an attempt, or there's an effort to make the nation a one-party state, which was one of the things that reflected in his speech. Is this argument tenable, or do you think it is just the nagging sound of political naysayers?
Yes, democracy is a beautiful concept. And when you are talking about democracy, you are talking about a kind of tripod, especially in Nigerian democracy. You are talking about the executive arm of government. You are talking about the legislative arm of government. You are talking about the judiciary. You are now referring to, the address to the assembly. Ordinarily, there wouldn't have been much cry, especially from people like me, if the president did not address the nation, because the people he addressed happened to be the representative of the people. So practically, he's speaking to the larger Nigerians in a way. But of course, the reverse is the case, given the new ugly trend in governance in Nigeria. So I was talking about the three arms of government, which is a tripod. So, okay, let's look at the tripod that holds a camera. So all of them are up, they are standing parallel, but they met at the top to uphold the camera. So that is what all of them are aiming at. But if you collapse all the three, what happened? The camera will fall. And that's why Nigeria is falling today. Because technically, the executive arm of government, the legislative arm of government, the judiciary have been collapsed into one. The president is ruling the legislative arm of government by proxy, and probably the judiciary also by proxy. So, that's why, we are now apprehensive. So ordinarily, it wouldn't have been out of place if you address the legislative arm of government and assume that he's addressing the Nigerians, because the legislative arm of government happens to be the office of the citizen. That is our office. That is where we are being represented. And whatever they do, yes, they are doing what they are doing, but the reverse is the case today. Now, when you have three arms of government, the practical meaning is that you are having 3 years of government. And
Honorable Lufemi, are you there? Oh, okay. So I think
one of the
Honorable
questions
Lufemi
I wanted to even ask him was that particular time when President Tinubu said he's not pushing for a one-party system, but then again, it's a pleasure, according to him, to see them in disarray. I wanted to ask him what President Tinubu meant by that. I mean, if you're not trying to encourage a one-party system, but you are saying that seeing your opposition in disarray, disagreement makes you happy.
Yes, yes. I think for me, I will not even blame Mr. President for making that statement by saying it will gladden his heart if he sees the opposition in disarray, because every politician wants to see that, look, at any point in time, I want to, most especially if I'm the incumbent, either the governor or the president, as the case is to, if the opposition is in disarray, they lack the formidable strength and the consensus to come together to stage a comeback or to carry out their role as constitutionally guaranteed or as an opposition, or as democratically guaranteed as an effective opposition. So if an opposition is not together, then they lack the power to do that. So if they lack the power to do that, it just confirms that whoever is on the saddle will make sure that their own house is put in order so that they can continue to forge ahead with their own plans and with their own objectives. That is the case. But the thing is, the other allegations that people are throwing out is that the opposition that is currently in disarray, we see the body language and the actions of most of the people that were defecting, from the People's Democratic Party, which is the effective opposition, which is the opposition at this moment. They are defecting to the ruling party.
Which is another concern.
Which is a strong concern, which is the reason why there is allegation against the current administration that there is this tendency or there's this handwriting on the wall to create a one-party state, which is what I needed him to actually address.
Let's see if he's still online. Honorable Femi Adebisi, are you there? All right. One of the questions also I wanted to ask him was that these defections, do they have any form of consequence or repercussions? Because if I feel I can leave this party today and to another party and I'll be embraced and all that, does that really uphold any value in our political system?
But I think the thing about a value in our political system goes a long way. And if it is, we have to make a very, very explicit comparison between the political parties that ushered in our political history from 1960 when we gained independence to 1963 when we became a republic, to when the coup took place and when we went back to the First Republic, what transpired in the Second Republic, all the political happenings, and how those political parties, what was the ideology of each political parties when the multiple party system came into existence in Nigeria. What was the objective of the Northern People's Congress? What was the objectives of the National Council for Nigeria and the Cameroons? What was the objective for the action group in the southwestern part of the country? What was the objective from the political party that was really taking place in the middle, not the middle belt, in Benin at that time? I've forgotten the specific name it was being called. Honorable Olufemi, are you still there? If you are not there, I think we are also due for a break as we speak. We bring you Cashcraft, and at the end of Cashcraft, we will be coming back to the studio to have more conversation and also to check if Honorable Femi is able to join us on the conversation. In absence of that, we will continue the conversation as well. But Cashcraft is coming your way. Stay with us.
to another episode on Cashcraft, the show that helps you see business where others see problems. Today, we're talking about plastic waste recycling, a hustle that's turning pollution into profit. Without taking much of your time today, let's dive straight into it. We start with the steps. Step 1, start with collection. Plastic is everywhere. Sachets, bottles, packaging. But for business, PET bottles are gold. Start by partnering with waste pickers, shops, schools, or run your own buyback point. Now you're going to offer incentives. It could be 100 naira per kilogram, depending on location and type. You need to do research on that actually. So once collected, bottles must be sorted by color and type. So you know, clean, clear bottles fetch more money. So pay attention. Let's go to step 2. Clean, crush, cash, nests. What am I talking about? Wash them, remove caps and labels, then crush or shred them into flakes using a plastic crusher. These flakes are what buyers, local or export, actually want. Now, clean, well-sorted flakes commands better prices. Think 200 to 350 naira per kilogram depending on quality. So with a semi-automatic line, you can process up to 1 ton daily. That's real volume and real money. Let's go to step 3. You need to know your market, your buyers, including local manufacturers or plastics textile companies. And even exporters, that's very important. You never can tell. Some flakes are shipped to India, China, Vietnam, or reused here in Nigeria to make buckets, chairs, or even new bottles. So let me give you a pro tip. You need to form relationships with aggregators or industrial buyers. And if you can process into pellets or fiber, your margins jump like boom. So step 4, add value, add impact. Don't just collect, create. Now some entrepreneurs now turn waste into tiles, paving bricks, and designer bags. I tell you, a lot is happening with recycling bottles. So you reduce plastic pollution and you add jobs while doing it. Step 5, learn the rules. This business is tied to regulations. So register with local waste authorities, and if you plan to export, get listed with NAFDAC or the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. Now complying means credibility and access to big opportunities. Recycler, na bottle we dey see everywhere, gutter, road, market, but with correct machine, you fit make better money. The work dey stressful, but if you no lazy, e go pay. Of course, there are challenges: dirty waste, poor sorting, market fluctuation. Sometimes power supply slows down operations, but where others see nuisance, you should see niche. It's a dirty business with clean money. So here is your takeaways. Plastic recycling isn't just about helping the environment. It's a smart hustle. It's scalable, impactful, and already reshaping communities. From bottle to bank account, plastic is profit if you know the game. And I am Grace Komalafe. I'm here reminding you that waste is only waste when you waste it. Until next time, keep crafting your cash.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. We're looking at the President's speech for June 12th. We've been having a conversation with Honorable Olufemi Adebisi, former Vice Chairman, Ibadan Southeast Local Government Area, Mapo, and also Public Affairs Analyst. Now, Honorable Olufemi, rather, are you there? Okay, he's not there yet. So, yeah, so we were having a conversation that if a political party that is on the saddle is happy that there is the opposition that is available to check him or her is dwindling. Their political power is dwindling massively, is plummeting, and they cannot really muster all the political asset they think they have to fight back. It will be good. It will be a good thing for the party in power. However, but the thing is, I hope you are not the one responsible for weakening that party. Now, Honorable Olufemi is back on the line. Welcome once again to Just Africa. Many thanks for joining us.
Yeah, sorry for the technical glitch. I'm back now, yes. Yes, I think we're discussing the issue of what to call the possibility of one-party state, which the president debunked. Well, of course, for me as a practical politician, I don't think anything of such even arose in the first instance. What you saw happened to be a kind of political game by the president to get himself protected because he felt that his house is leaking. Well, you see, it's a kind of exhibition of fears and trying to get himself protected. How? You see, right from the onset of this administration, the APC had been grossly divided, and the principal actors in APC, they happen to be outside of the party, operating outside of the party, not working with the party, which is a kind of potential threat to the re-election of Mr. President. Let me begin with the former President Buhari, who is not with the president in practice. He might just be there in theory. You'll be talking about the former Secretary to the federal government. You'll be talking about the Rotimi Amechis. You'll be talking about the Arebe Solas. You'll be talking about Raji Fashola. You'll be talking about El Rufai. A whole lot of them. In fact, the strongest of them in their party are not seriously with the current administration. Not to wasn't the case. I think there's a kind of friction between the president and his deputy, his vice, I think Kasim Shettima. You recall that at the point they were thinking of moving him out of the main of Aso Rock, that is Keola Agoda House, moving him out of a newly refurbished at just the immediate outskirts of the Aso Rock, a 21 billion naira edifice, which he refused. And don't forget that, of course, he felt marginalized. The people saw it, and two of the key principals of the current administration had resigned. So, and there was a kind of a security report that up to about 6 governors in the north are working with the coalition outside, probably funding them. So they now need to, work from the south to fill in the gap. It means that the expected vote in 2027 by Bola Ahmed Tinubu is dwindling. It's unrealistic. It's not likely to get the kind of vote he got in the first instance. So he has to make sure that if I'm losing in the north, let me now, think about the middle belt and then towards the south. The 3 regions are, geopolitical zones at the south. So that's why you see key movement of people, especially in the south, not in the northwest, not in the northeast. So he's trying to consolidate, between the middle belt and the southern aspect of Nigeria. So that's why you see all those movements. So already there have been movement technically in APC, and the movement is even louder. It's only that we don't recognize that, louder than that of any other party. So that is not to.
All right, Honorable Femi Adebisi. One of the things President Tinubu also mentioned was that of the student loan, the NELM fund. He made mention of it as an achievement. So I want you to let us take a deep dive into this, looking at national development, looking at how far this loan has gone and how it has helped students, to get better access to education.
Well, of course, the loan. In most cases in Nigeria, you know that we are very good on papers. We are very good in saying things we cannot keep. And sometimes when you even do what you had according to your words, sometimes it's badly implemented. Do you know how much money that was stolen in that particular program? Do you know how much money does not even reach the students that are supposed to be the beneficiary. So it's a laudable program in practice, I'm telling you. In fact, I think I love it so much. It's a way of giving the opportunity, for the indigent students, to have access to tertiary education, which is perhaps, the bedrock of what we call national development. Because if you don't develop people's capacity, you are not likely to get a strengthened nation. So, it's a laudable one, but it's badly implemented.
This loan fund, students have also expressed some form of inefficiency in terms of which, by the time the loan gets disbursed, some of the students would have completed their programs and they would have gone ahead to even pay this actual money. And some of the tertiary institutions then go ahead and receive this fund without making it known or returning it back or declaring that, oh, this person has actually paid for this fund. So thereby, there's no need for this loan anymore. What can be done in this essence? How can we tighten up so that we don't get to hear anything of like corruption or mismanagement of these loans?
Well, of course, corruption, you should understand, is an integral part of our system in Nigeria. And how do we stamp it out? When you have the bulk of people that are even corrupt, the bulk of people that are having cases of corruption with the EFCC and ICPC occupying the exalted offices at the 3 levels of government. So when you have them, especially in the National Assembly, people that are still having unclosed cases with the EFCC there. So how will you now stamp out corruption? So, the little corruption you see at this particular student loans board or whatever is just a minor fraction of, the high scale or high profile graft that is going on in Nigeria. So, well, you cannot in isolation stamp it out in that particular regard. But of course, I think there should be an independent body working to make sure that this program works, because it affects, the youth directly, the generation next. And of course, you should know that the failure of the past leaders and the failures of the current administration is leading to what we call restiveness and frustration of the current youths. And of course, we need to pacify them. Yes, while we are looking at the people at the tertiary institution, how about the one in the secondary school? How about even the people that even does not even have access, to education, which are so many in Nigeria? So the problem around education in Nigeria should be addressed holistically. And that's why Professor Wole Soyinka said that probably maybe we should just close down the tertiary institution across Nigeria for 1 year and get the whole thing reconfigured. It's as bad as that in Nigeria. So, well, of course, this loan thing, of course, is just a palliative, it's a mere thing, and very little is having access to that particular thing, and it is even badly managed, not reaching the people that are supposed to benefit, like I said, and not only that, probably by the time they benefit, there may be no need of it at all. So, yes, how to take care of it, I don't know, because it is a part of, because you can only give what you have. What you don't have, you cannot give. The current administration, the past administration, they don't have transparency. So why would they give transparency? So, the system of governance in Nigeria is opaque. So, so when it is opaque, how will you now expect them to give transparent governance, especially in that particular program? So it's not feasible.
So much, Honorable Olufemi Adebisi, former Vice Chairman, Ibadan Southeast Local Government Area, MAPO, and also a journalist and a public affairs analyst. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning on Just Africa on SOUQ News Television.
It's my pleasure. I feel so sorry for the technical glitch. I was unable to comfort as expected, but no problem. Some other time.
Thank you. Yes, I think those were key aspects that he mentioned. For the NEL Fund, I know that accusation that came up, and how we've not really seen much in addressing and tackling those areas that have been raised by the students and by those who suspected the whole system. Well, we just hope that it's going to get well.
Definitely.
And for Nigerian students, whether they are colleges of education, polytechnics, monotechnics, state universities. State universities, are they qualified for that loan? Federal universities and all of that. So I think it should be for everyone.
Yes. Good one. I think it should be for everyone. But you know, it's a start. It's a laudable event. A laudable initiative. I love the initiative, and I hope it will really reduce the out-of-school children. It will really encourage people, you know, those who don't have access to the necessary funds to, you know, further their university or further their education. It would actually give them that opportunity. I believe the stringent requirements, qualifications should be looked upon, should be made more accessible to people. Because if you look at some of the requirements and all that, the level 10, this and that, let's make it less, you know, stringent, so that more people. The idea is to give people who don't have funds access to education. So I think it's one of the things we should
do. As we wrap up the show, maybe I should ask this rhetorical question. The purpose of this NEL fund is to give access to people, or indigenous students who cannot really afford it. But you know, indigenous students can also go to private schools, private institutions, where they can pay 750,000 naira, 800,000 or 1 million naira for a session. Maybe, can they have access to the loan? Maybe they are trying to avoid strike action coming from, you know, the academic staff union of universities or other civil society organizations that could delay their time while they're in school. In that case, they have a justifiable argument. So can they have 1 million naira, you know, pay for their school fees, one of the private institutions in the country, and you do that for 4 or 5 years, and you get out of there, then you have like 6-7 million naira to pay back to the government? That's a rhetorical question, because if we have to start answering the question, it's a whole lot. This is where we draw the curtain on Just Africa. Our focus has been on Nigeria because June 12th just passed. We celebrated that, and we're still looking at that. So most likely tomorrow we will be discussing about our dear country, Nigeria, still in the continent of Africa. I am Oyim Priye Kurumale. I leave you in the hands of the uniqueness of Africa.
And I am Olumide Shokoya. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Africa, a continent with 54 unique countries, countless tribes and tongues. We see a country in this continent, despite not being the richest or biggest, it is rich in things that last. Products and ornamental fish makes a substantial contribution to rural economies. A burgeoning tourism industry is also driven by the lake. Malawi's lakeside locations, from Nkata Bay to Cape Maclear, draw ecotourists and backpackers seeking peace, quiet, kayaking, snorkeling, and genuine cultural experiences. The nation is becoming more and more popular among tourists looking for a less marketed experience because of its tranquil, friendliness, and affordable travel options. Beyond the lake, Malawi is making investments in sustainable development and agriculture, especially in the areas of sugar, tea, and tobacco, which support their traditional exports and encourage diversification into other crops like macadamia and legumes. Malawi is moving more and more towards agro-processing and resilience-based farming as climatic issues worsen. Malawi is unique not because of what it lacks, but rather because of how it uses what it has, transforming its communal strength and natural resources into a gradual but steady force for growth. I am Laura, and this is Just Africa.
Today, as I entered this grand edifice built a merciful and almighty God, and all men, and resolved to do all that I could do to safeguard and build our democracy as the divine hand intended for us to do. Since 2018, we have celebrated Democracy Day on this day to commemorate the sacrifices of the men and women who fought to restore democratic governance to Nigeria. Let me pay tribute to my predecessor, former President Muhammadu Buhari, for reaching back into history to rectify a national misdeed by making June 12th Democracy Day and by officially acknowledging Chief MKO Abiola and his running mate Babagana Kingibe as the victors and the duly elected president and first president, respectively, of Nigeria after June 12, 1993 election. Year by year, election after election, every time we debate instead of battle, we discuss instead of fight, and argue instead of destroy. We preserve the institution of democracy. More importantly, we weave the culture of democracy into very fabric of our nation. We thank God for this. Whilst Chief MKO Abiola is June 12th central figure, we must not forget the long list of those who equally deserve to be called heroes of democracy. We must celebrate the courage of Alhaja Kudirat Abiola and Pa Arfe Rewani, both of whom were murdered by agents of military repression. We also remember the many civil rights activists, journalists, and politicians imprisoned, exiled, tossed aside, tortured, and beaten by the military regime. We remember Chief Anthony Enoro, Commodore Dan Suleiman, Chief Abraham Adesanya, Ayo Adebanjo, Chief Gani Fawayemi, Balara B. Musa, Ganiu Daudu, the journalist Baguda Kato, and Commodore Ndibusi Kanu. I mention these names not to exclude or degrade the profound contribution of anyone else, but to illustrate through these few heroes the universality of our pursuit of democracy. The struggle was never the province of any one group or section of the country. It was pan-Nigeria in its conception, and it will even be more pan-Nigeria as we strive to perfect it. It is fitting that I come to this chamber to you. You are the authors of the People's Law, and I must be their faithful implementer. While we may not always agree, we must forge a way to work together, because this is what democracy demands of us. I pledge myself to this cooperation and ask that you do the same for the good people of our country. Mr. Chairman, the National Assembly has acted to uphold democratic ideas at every critical moment in our nation's history. In 2006, the Fifth National Assembly protected our democracy against unseemly third-term bid that would have ripped our Constitution apart. In 2010, the National Assembly, through the doctrine of necessity, opened the door for then Vice President Goodluck Jonathan to become the acting president following the illness of his predecessor. Even under the military, the National Assembly tried to protect our democracy. After General Abacha took over power on November 17, 1993, and dissolved the National Assembly, some of us, led by Senator Ame Ebute, the Senate President of the Third Republic, defied the general and his goons, and we reconvened in old Parliament building in Lagos and declare that regime illegal. We had the courage to do so, the determination to resuscitate democracy, but we were jailed for our defiance. On behalf of a grateful nation, I commend your invaluable role in lawmaking, oversight, and constituency representation. At this point, I plead for your indulgence so that I may put a terrible rumor to bed. To those who ring the alarm that the APC is intent on a one-party state, I offer you a most personal promise. While your alarm may be as a result of their panic, it rings an error. At no time in the past, nor any instance at the present, and at no future junction, shall I view the notion of one-party state as good for Nigeria. I've never attempted to alter any political party registration with INEC. Equally, my dear friends and colleagues, we cannot blame anybody seeking to bail out of a sinking ship, even without a life jacket. Look at my political history. I will be the last person to advocate such a scheme. In year 2003, when the then governing party tried to sweep the nation clean of political opposition through plot and manipulation, I was the last progressive governor standing in my region. In their numbers, they boasted. In all their numbers and the first grandeur, they boasted of ruling, not only governing Nigeria, for the next half century or more. Where are they now? Yet I stood alone. My allies had been induced into defeat. My adversary held all the cards that mortal man could carry. Even with all of that, they could not control my destiny and could not control our national destiny, because fate is written from the above. A greater power did not want Nigeria to become one-party state back then. Nigeria will not become such a state now. The failed effort to create a one-party state placed progressive political party forces on a trajectory to form the APC. It put me on the trajectory which has brought me before you today. I dare not such a favor to any political adversary by repeating the same mistake of political overreach. A one-party state is not in the oven, nor shall it ever be. That said, We would be guilty of political malpractice if we close our door on those from other parties who now seek to join the APC. I sincerely welcome our party's newest members from Delta and Akwa Ibom states, led by Governor Sheriff Obowe and Pastor Moeno and other national members of this respected National Assembly. You are all welcome to the progressive fold. Nobody should close the door. Political parties fearful of members leaving may be better served by examining their internal processes and affairs rather than fearfully conjuring up demons that do not exist. For me, I would not say try your best to put your house in order. I will not help you to do so either. It is indeed a pleasure to witness you in such a disarray. Distinguished honorable members of this House, we must welcome and accept the diversity and the number of political parties, just as we welcome and embrace the diversity of our population. Our efforts must never be to eliminate political competition, but to make that competition salutary to the national well-being of working across the aisle, political aisles, whenever it is possible. One area in which democracy calls us to work together, whether in legislative or executive branch, whether in this or other political parties, is that the economy and social development of this country must not be compromised. On assuming office, my team and I moved to reform our ailing economy. We introduced fundamental reforms to correct structural imbalances that prevented maximum growth. We are already seeing results. The GDP grew by 3.4% in 2024, with Q4 hitting 4.6%. The highest quarter of growth in over a decade. Inflation is easing gradually, steadying the price of food staples like rice and beans. Our net foreign reserve have increased fivefold, and the Naira exchange rate has stabilized. Our balance of payment position is positive. Our sovereign credit rating is improving, and we continue to promote oil and non-oil gas export. State do not need to go about borrowing to pay salaries anymore. In less than 1 year, over 100,000 Nigerians, including 35,000 civil servants, have benefited from affordable consumer credit through the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, enabling them to purchase vehicles, light up and improve their well-being, and purchase life essentials. This July, we will launch a bold new initiative to empower 400,000 young Nigerians, including youth corpers, with consumer credit. We are committed to giving more opportunities to young people through job creation and skill development. Through such programs as Nigeria Education Fund, NEL Fund, we are investing in education and in the greater future of our country, vocational training, apprenticeship, and entrepreneurship to ensure that our youth are job ready and future ready. In addition, we have embarked on an ambitious project to lay fiber optic cables across the nation, a transformative step towards bridging the digital divide and fostering greater connectivity. This initiative promises not only to enhance the speedy and reality of internet access, but also to revolutionize how business operates, how students learn, and how community stays connected. By extending this critical infrastructure, we are empowering entrepreneurs, enabling digital education, and providing the tools for our youth to compete in a globalized economy. Our Nigerian First policy will further enhance progress and will consolidate market-driven growth. The improved economic performance is encouraging and validates the soundness of our policy measures with collaboration with you. Our medium-term growth target remains an economy growing at a 7% clip with a stronger manufacturing base. We must learn to produce and grow most of our food, and we are on the path to achieving food sovereignty. These and other reforms have placed the economy on a more rational footing.
Directors, President, Nigerian Guild of Editors, distinguished editors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. Chairman, as part of your engagement to engage with various stakeholders, you have met with various groups, and another critical group that you are meeting today are members of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Of course, you had a meeting with NUG, where they selected journalists from states of the Federation, where you share your vision and also seek for their support. It's the same thing we are here today. Editors, before you is the chairman of the ICPC. Before becoming the chairman of ICPC, he was the Commissioner of Justice in Jigawa State. And he has a vision that he intends to unveil, or he wants you to help him so that he achieve this vision. Dr. Musa Aliyu San is currently pursuing a vigorous restructuring of the ICPC that requires your support, your understanding, And that is why I came to Lagos purposely to meet with you and to seek for that support. Distinguished editors, I present you as one of you. I present you the chairman of ICPC and Dr. Musa Ali San. Mr. Chairman, you are welcome, sir.
The management staff of ICPC